Yo, how far can envy go in hip-hop? When an icon like 50 Cent starts launching nonsensical attacks on Kendrick Lamar, you know there's something much deeper behind it. Is it simple resentment, or are we seeing a legend struggle with the weight of his past in the face of Kendrick's current success? Let's break it all down, because this is a key moment in understanding the state of hip-hop today. Kendrick Lamar is at the top of his game right now. GNX is breaking records. The Super Bowl halftime show is about to put him on the biggest stage in the world, and his legacy just keeps growing. But when you're winning this hard, the haters start lining up. And right now, leading that lineup is none other than 50 Cent. This ain't some random rap beef though. 50's been quietly throwing shade for a while, and now he's finally making it public. The latest, a podcast appearance with Andrew Schultz on Flagrant, where the two of them spent a good chunk of time trying to tear down Kendrick's success. It's bitter, it's messy, and it's not a good look for someone who's supposed to be a legend. But what's got 50 so fired up? Is it just Kendrick's success, or does this go back to something deeper, like Dr. Dre, the Super Bowl, and years of built-up resentment? Stick around, cause we're getting into all of it. On Flagrant, 50 Cent didn't just back up Schultz's wild takes on Kendrick, he doubled down on them. Schultz brought up his controversial comments about Kendrick's track Whacked Out Murals, and instead of keeping it cool, 50 jumped right in with more shade. They went on about how Kendrick's success is manufactured, and how he's only been elevated to push Drake out of the spotlight. This wasn't criticism, it was straight up bitterness. Schultz and 50 sounded less like industry veterans and more like guys who can't handle seeing someone else win, and the fans noticed. Social media lit up with people calling them out for being out of touch and petty. But if you think that's bad, wait till you hear what 50 said about Kendrick's awards, especially the Pulitzer. This is where it gets wild. Here's where 50 really started to show his true colors. He mocked Kendrick's Pulitzer Prize for Damn, saying it was ridiculous for a rapper to win something like that. Schultz chimed in too, laughing at the idea of a hip-hop artist being recognized at that level. But let's get real for a second. Kendrick winning a Pulitzer wasn't just about him. It was about hip-hop breaking barriers and being recognized as a legitimate art form. It was a win for the culture. The fact that 50 and Schultz couldn't see that says more about them than it does about Kendrick. But this isn't just about awards. 50's frustration goes way deeper, and a lot of it ties back to the Super Bowl halftime show and his relationship with Dr. Dre. The cracks in 50's relationship with Kendrick became clear during the 2022 Super Bowl halftime show. Dr. Dre chose Kendrick, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and Mary J. Blige as the headliners. 50 wasn't even on the initial list. If it hadn't been for Eminem fighting to include him, he wouldn't have been there at all. For 50, this was a hard pill to swallow. It wasn't just about not being included, it was about what it symbolized. Kendrick is now the centerpiece of Dre's legacy, while 50 is starting to feel like a relic of the past. But even with that history, 50's recent comments don't hold up when you look at the facts. Let's break down why his arguments fall apart. Here's the thing about 50 Cent's criticism. It doesn't add up. He called Kendrick's music soft and said it's too commercial, but then he turned around and accused Kendrick of being too aggressive with tracks like Not Like Us. So which is it? 50? Is Kendrick too mainstream, or is he too raw? Pick a lane. Then there's his take on Good Kid, MAA, D-City, one of the most respected albums in hip-hop history. Saying that project isn't authentic is wild, especially when you consider how deeply it resonated with fans and critics alike. And trying to argue that Drake is more real than Kendrick, that's straight comedy. Drake's whole career has been built on strategic moves and streaming hack, while Kendrick stayed true to his artistry. But the real reason for 50's shade isn't about music, it's about legacy. And when you dig into his history with Kendrick, it all starts to make sense. At the start of Kendrick's career, 50 seemed supportive, but as Kendrick rose to the top, things shifted. Kendrick became Dre's new protege, the face of a new generation of hip-hop. For 50, who once held that position, it must have felt like being pushed aside. The Super Bowl halftime show was just the tipping point, Kendrick being front and center, while 50 had to rely on Eminem to even get on stage, made it clear who Dre sees as the future of hip-hop, and that's gotta sting. So where does this leave Kendrick? Should he respond to 50's comments, or just keep letting his work speak for itself? Let's wrap this up. No matter how loud 50 Cent gets, Kendrick Lamar keeps proving why he's the leader of this generation. His music breaks records, wins awards, and pushes the culture forward. Meanwhile, 50's comments just make him look like he's stuck in the past, holding on to grudges instead of evolving with the times. So what do you think about this whole situation? Is 50 Cent making valid points, or is this just jealousy on full display? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you've made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And if you want to see how Lil Wayne squashed his beef with Kendrick Lamar and why that's got Drake mad as hell, don't miss the next video. Click now, you won't want to miss it.